All right, it's time for the Low Fact Podcast. We really need a gong or something to get a thing going.
So you don't think my Buddhist bells are very good?
Those bells are kind of whippy sounding. Anyway, this is a low-rent, low-brow Dave with the Kiwi Kennedy Matt.
Sup, bros?
Riots. So, yeah, it's election season, or elections should be over by the time this goes up.
They will be, which is kind of scary.
Hopefully there hasn't been too much protesting or rioting going on. Although, according to all the pundits and professional folks, there will be.
Listen to them, do you?
Well, only in as far as I think that's what they want.
To be listened to?
No, for there to be rioting and protesting. Think about it, y'all. If voting actually meant something, or did something, don't you think that the powers that be would want us sheep and goats not to do it?
This is something you talked about last week.
I mean, think about it. As I said before, there are a lot of people who sit there and say, "Oh, we need to reform the vote because America's a racist country that started out with these rich old white men that didn't want anybody to vote." What makes you think the people in charge have gotten less cunty as time goes by?
So I don't even know what voting reform would look like. Like what? Getting rid of. Having a majority rule or something?
It's the same. It's just more BS to make us sheep and goats and stupid people just kind of be happy. Here's some more slop, piggies. Eat it and be happy. Thank you. So, first of all, as I said before, as I said before, voting is not the end of it. It's just the beginning. We've been too inundated with fairy tales. The end is they lived happily ever after. No, the end is the very beginning. The slop and the drudgery. All those movies that the movies about heroes and romances and guy gets the girl. It's and they lived happily ever after.
They're my favorite kind of movies.
Yeah, they're everybody's favorite kind of movies, but they don't show the part the next day where you got to wake up to this bitch with bad breath that's always nagging you about stuff. Or on her, from her perspective, this lazy bastard that doesn't want to do anything but sit around and watch frickin' TV and scratch his balls. They don't show that part because that part's annoying. And that's the same thing. That's the same thought I have about government. I mean,
you're so romantic, Dave.
I'm just practical. I'm just realistic. And if being realistic means I'm a downer, then so be it. Call me Debbie Downer.
Davy Downer.
Well, even better. That's an even better title. But, that's what I mean about the vote stuff. I mean, yes, voting is very important, but voting don't mean jack squat if that's all you're going to do. I mean, don't you think there's a reason why all the politicians are just vote, 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 and when the vote's over, it's now go back to your frickin' holes and leave me alone?
Well, they don't say that, obviously.
Sure they do.
Well, they say just...
Yeah, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Why are you getting all involved in this? You don't know everything. I'm here. You don't know all the information. So I've collected several $1 million. You don't know what's going on here, man. Walk a mile in my shoes. That's my favorite fucking line. Walk a mile in my shoes. Every time I hear it, I want to smack somebody in the head with a bat. But going back to, the...
So aggressive.
I am aggressive. And hostile.
I know.
And you know why? Because I'm the biggest failure on earth. But that's another podcast topic.
That's a dramatic statement too.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Yes.
Pundits.
Well, I think that oh shit, I forgot the word that I was going to say. Well, because the prevalence of people saying that there's going to be riots and civil wars are coming, I kind of think that that's what they want.
Yeah, but those things have lots of unintended consequences, don't they?
Well, really, the unintended consequences are for the sheep and goat like us to sit there and join some bandwagon because we're the ones that are going to die.
What about the pundits?
Pundits?
I mean, they could all get rounded up and murdered.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because it happened once.
I'm just saying though that
and even then it didn't happen to everybody.
Excuse me.
I mean, okay, so let's take this for an example. What's that World War I battle that your people are so fond of quoting?
Gallipoli.
Who was the architect of it?
Sir Winston Churchill.
What happened to him?
He got ousted after he...
Ooh, so bad. He lost his job as the first Sea Lord or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, must
Then
not
he
have...
became Prime Minister.
Well, okay, so nothing happened to him,
No.
right? Didn't boatloads of...
I get a bit pissed off when people are like, oh, Winston Churchill's my hero. I'm like, really?
Didn't boatloads of Australians and New Zealanders lose their lives?
Yeah.
For two countries that really couldn't afford that many
Put them
people.
in the wrong place, and then they made them run against gun emplacements.
I don't think there was a make involved, and I don't know. I don't know too much
They
about.
got ordered to.
I don't know too much about Gallipoli. Just that it was a movie, and if there were some Gurkhas there, they probably would have won. But besides that,
Ha ha. No.
hey man,
Well, a lot of Australians and New Zealanders got killed.
there's something to be said about those tiny pickles.
A ton. By Turkish machine guns. I'm not joking now.
Huh?
I'm not joking about gherkins.
Well, too bad. It's not Gurkha, it's Gurkha.
Ugh, covered in snot.
Those fearsome Nepalese soldiers.
Yeah. What is it about those guys?
What is it about the tiny guys?
I don't know, man.
I mean, think about it.
Why can't big guys be, scary?
Apparently they can't.
I'm a big, scary guy.
Okay. So yeah, so I do think that that there is a desire for quote unquote civil war amongst the ruling class.
But those people they don't really want a civil war. I mean, I feel like that's just a thing that they say.
No, they don't care. Sure they do. It will thin out the rest of the herd. The herd being us, or the herd being people like me, losers that got nothing going on.
That makes no sense.
And in case you think you're not a loser that's not going on, unless you're one of them, then you're one of us.
But a civil war would suggest that a few million people are going to die.
No, not necessarily.
They did the last time around.
What last time around?
The Civil War.
The American Civil War?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a lot of people died. I would imagine at least 1 million people died.
I mean, and that's the population probably was what?
Significantly less, probably about 50.
Yeah, so that's a lot of dead people.
But, the people that the people that are in power really don't want the native born or the people that have lived here very long to be soaking it up. I mean, I'm not an anti-immigration guy. I mean, if I were, it'd be kind of weird considering my parents are immigrants.
Yeah.
But the whole point is getting all kinds of new replacement crew that will work for cheaper. And, the second that they get a little too hoity-toity, get new ones. It's kind of like porn in the entertainment industry, right?
I don't know much about the porn industry.
Well, entertainment in general. You got the hot young thing, and in a couple of years she goes out, and the new hot young thing. There's always new hot young things coming around.
Well, that's true.
And that's the whole point of immigration from the standpoint of the higher ups.
We need a cheap labor force, and then as soon as they start doing good, and you have to pay them more, then we get new people.
That's the idea, and if anyone wants to dispute that, I say, why don't you take a look at the clothing industry and manufacturing?
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, stuff was made in Costa Rica, then it got too expensive. Then it was made in Indonesia, then it got too expensive. Then it was made in Bangladesh, then it got too expensive. Then it was made in Vietnam.
Aren't they going to run out of countries, though?
Never. There's always going to be a place that's really poor that you can exploit. That's
really?
Dude, that's...
Because I feel like at a certain point, there's not going to be any more
No, it's
poor countries.
No, there's always going to be poor countries, and even in the rich countries, there's always going to be poor people. That's like the economic theory of we will never run out of oil.
See, I like to think that there won't be that there'll be this future where everybody's doing better.
That's a... How do I put this delicately?
I don't know.
That's a nice thought, but it's unrealistic.
Why? Why is it unrealistic? Because
how long have people been on this planet?
There's always going to be haves and have-nots.
There doesn't have to be. There just kind of is.
I don't know, 30,000 years.
Well, according to
years.
According to the archaeologists, human species is almost 200,000 years old.
What the hell do they know?
Well, they're just guessing.
Right.
And the oldest civilizations that I can think of off the top of my head are probably around 10,000 years old.
Yeah.
So basically, we've had 10,000 years to get to what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing that we're getting to is stuff that was going on a few thousand years ago, where there's like a small group, 4 or 5% of the population that has all the money. And then everybody else, for those 4 or 5% of the people, life is great. For the other 95%, you're just praying for death.
That's nice.
Well, I'm not saying we're there yet, but it seems like we're getting there. But what you were talking about is something that I was thinking about earlier today, and I think that we're just about out of time. So if you want to find out what we're talking about or what we're going to talk about, you're just going to have to listen to the next one.